You know that feeling you have as you're falling asleep when you're full of motivation and excitement and telling yourself that tomorrow is going to be the most productive day of your life? And then when you actually wake up, the last thing in the world you could ever want to do is to get out of bed. Well, that's what happened to me today, but we still have half the day, and a half-wasted day doesn't have to be a fully wasted one. So let's see how we can reset and get ourselves motivated to make the most of our time, however much is left. It is 4:44 p.m. and I haven't done anything today that I told myself I would do. I want to get to sleep by 10:30 p.m. so we have just under 6 hours to complete everything that we need to do. Regardless of why I need a reset, I always start my routine by writing down everything I want to get done. This way, I feel like I've got control over my situation, which really helps when I'm having a bad or unproductive day because it's probably stressing me out. Even simple things like doing dishes or cleaning the kitchen table can go on the list so that when I finish them, I get to check them off my list and feel much more accomplished. Alright. But here is all we have to get done today. And the first thing I put on my list is almost always cleaning. If you're anything like me, when you've been stressed out and procrastinating for a while, your place is probably a mess, and if your living space is cluttered and disorganized, it's gonna be so much harder to motivate yourself to do everything else on your to-do list. So whatever your room looks like, try to create a space that's comfortable, welcoming, and makes sitting down to do your work easy and appealing.
It could be sunrise or late nights, I'm always laughing with I really like you, I say I don't, I really like to.
Something important I focus on when trying to reset is also to let go of my all or nothing attitude. This is when I say to myself, either I'm gonna get everything I need to get done finished, or I'm not gonna do anything at all.
But I'm not sure you're leaving.
And sometimes that's okay. It can be good to be ambitious, especially when you've got deadlines to meet, but most of the time, having this mindset is only going to make the already scary task of tackling your to-do list even more daunting.
Are you okay with that? And that might be a problem, I should say
It's much better to recognize that every item you check off your list is an accomplishment you should be proud of. And if you've got 10 things to do but only managed to do 5 of them, that's still 5 reasons to be happy with yourself. This is especially important when you're having a bad day and procrastinated for hours, only getting more and more stressed as the day winds down and you still haven't done anything. When that happens to me, I find that the best strategy is to forget about everything on my to-do list except for one task and to focus all my energy on doing it. It doesn't have to be the hardest one either. You just have to get something done so that you can break the cycle of procrastination you are stuck in and relieve the stress that's been building up. That way, it'll be so much easier to be productive because you'll already have started on your to-do list, and starting is always the hardest part.
Now would you really want me or just something new? Cause some things never change, are you okay with that?
I really want to emphasize this point. It's really easy for the fear of not being able to get it all done to lead to overwhelming anxiety, and for the anxiety to lead to procrastination, and for procrastination to cause us to spend the whole day without doing anything at all. And by far, the biggest hurdle to breaking the cycle is just starting. Because once you start, you'll almost always see that your set of tasks wasn't as nearly as scary and overwhelming as you imagined it to be inside your own head. I'm sure we've all spent hours and hours in anxious thought loops, convinced that there was no way we could get our work done, only to sit down and realize, wow, I can literally do this in an hour. And I'm not saying it's always going to be this easy, but I am saying that it's almost always going to be easier than you thought it was going to be. So just start. Really, what's the worst that could happen? This leads to my next point. Be gentle with yourself. Sometimes when we're feeling tired and unmotivated, it's just because our bodies and minds are telling us that we're burnt out and need some time off. No matter what we're doing, we all need some space to live our lives, sometimes without focusing any of our attention on work or school or anything to do with productivity. And accepting that this is an important part of living a healthy life without feeling guilty or inadequate every time we feel this way is crucial to our long-term mental health and happiness. But other times we just have bad bad days. We have days where we waste time, days where we procrastinate, and days where we just don't feel like working. And it's important to remember that it's totally normal and okay. And we don't need any reason or excuse to feel okay about this. Bad days aren't signs that we failed or that we've done something wrong. They're just part of our life, no matter who we are and what we're trying to do. If you hold yourself to an impossible standard and beat yourself up every time you fail to reach it, not only will you make yourself suffer, but you'll actually be making yourself less productive going forward because you'll be dwelling on the past rather than focusing on the present. So if you've had a bad day, just be kind to yourself. Accept and be at peace with what's happened and allow yourself to move on to what's ahead of you, because that's the only thing you can control. Putting too much pressure on yourself and feeding into negative self-talk is only going to make things harder.
Truth is, I was never in love. Now that I've had a real taste. If I could tell you, I don't think you'd believe how long I felt this way. I'm begging you to stay. And if I could show you.
Okay, we're about an hour into this, an hour and 10 minutes into this. 5 hours left, actually like 4.5 hours left, but I think we're on the same, I think we're on the right track right now. I love clearing things first because you see the mess go away and you see stuff being done. So let's continue with the bathrooms.
I wish I could solve, but I never call. And you're going all the way this year.
I got my first job at 14 back in the day when I was a waitress, and at the start of every shift and at the end we always had to clean the bathrooms. Good days. Another thing that can really help you let go of the pressure and anxiety when stuff builds up is try to get out of your own head. So much anxiety we feel comes from anxious thought loops and negative self-talk that gets stuck when we let ourselves think for hours at a time without interruption. This is especially bad when we're procrastinating, and it becomes really easy to focus on the work we haven't done yet. Alright, the office is actually in pretty good shape, so I don't really have to tidy it or clean it, but I'm gonna go ahead and edit some videos on my laptop. These videos are for my Instagram, so if you haven't seen my Instagram, I made this broadcast channel. It's like a group chat on there where we keep each other motivated. On my last video, a bunch of people from there were commenting and a bunch of people were asking what it was. So if you go to my Instagram and if you follow me, you can see that there's a link to join the broadcast channel. So that's what the group chat is, by the way. Everyone is welcome, everybody is invited, but I just like post daily quotes, reminders, motivation, stuff like that on there, like once a day usually. Sometimes I'll ask your guys' opinion on a thumbnail or anything, just like polls and stuff, but yeah. So when you recognize these anxious thought loops occurring, try to interrupt it. It's usually pretty easy to. Just find something that makes use of your body instead of your mind, like exercise, going outside, or even going to the grocery store. And it doesn't have to be for long either. You only need enough time to break the cycle of thought that you were trapped in, and then you're good to go.
There's no one who holds me like you, no one who can melt this pain. There's no one who sees me like you, makes me smile this way. You don't know how much you mean to me. You don't know just how you set me free. You don't know how you.
Alright, all of the computer work and stuff in the office is done, and we've decided we want nachos for dinner. So we're gonna go to the grocery store. This wasn't on the list, but it should have been, and also stock up on some basics.
It's you I'm running.
makes me smile, sweat.
Okay guys, so Mike ordered me some stuff on Amazon for my early birthday presents. Thanks, Mike.
Welcome.
Everyone say thanks, Mike. I got some ice cube trays. I want to test them out today. These are so cute. These are heart shaped. Wait, I forgot what it is. Oh! Look! Wait, they're exactly what I wanted. I tried these ones out yesterday, so let's see how they are.
Why is it in confidence?
Oh,
What? You think so? What?
it's sphere.
Oh, wait! It actually looks good.
Yeah. Now that I've gotten myself out of the rut I was stuck in, I'm going to think about more goals I want to set for myself this year with 6 months I've got left. We all have different goals, things we want to achieve, places we want to be, goals we want to get into, but regardless of what we want, there's always things we can do to increase our chances of actually reaching them. Here are some things I always keep in mind when setting my goals, whatever I happen to be focusing on. Breaking my goals down so that they feel reachable within a reasonable amount of time. It's easy to set goals that are really ambitious and hard to reach when we feel good because we think we're on top of the world and we're capable of anything. But we have to remember that we're not always going to feel this motivated, and so it's important to set goals and sub goals that we'll be able to work towards even when we're not feeling our best. It'll also make our goals feel less scary and more realistic to us, which is important too.
But darling, it's your call, so I guess that we should talk less. It's more than not at all.
2. Finding ways to be accountable. Sometimes we're just not going to have the motivation we need to work towards our goals, and that's not something to be ashamed of, but it is something that's good to plan for. So if you're able to find someone who can check in on you from time to time to help you stick with your goals or even join in on whatever you're pursuing, it's usually a good idea to hold on to them. Find like-minded people. The time is 10:54. I had to finish the last episode of Lock and Key. We've been watching that for weeks. So I didn't make it to my 10:30 goal, but we're pretty close. And we got all of the important stuff done, all ready for Monday morning.
I'm not saying I don't want this, I'm just terrified.
Number 3, not making every goal about productivity. We shouldn't always be striving towards goals that are about school, work, or other forms of productivity. It's important we take our mental and physical health just as seriously as our education and careers, and our goals should reflect that. Things like getting enough sleep, eating the right kinds of food, and making sure to spend enough time with friends and loved ones are all valuable goals that we should prioritize just as much as our grades or our work. So much about our lives can change for the better just as soon as we change our mindset about productivity, as well as our emotions like fear and regret. By taking the good with the bad and recognizing that growth and progress aren't always linear, we can develop healthier relationships to work and productivity and realize ultimately what counts is our well-being. So we should never be ashamed to take time off or prioritize ourselves when we need to. Remember, at the end of the day, the best investment you can make is the one you make in yourself.
Out in the